What if I told you there isn't a single coaster in the Netherlands with just one inversion? That's right, once you flip upside down once, you will do it at least twice. But which roller coaster takes the crown? Hold on tight, because today we are looping our way through all 13 of the inverting roller coasters in the Netherlands, starting with the fewest. And you may not agree with number 3, so stick around. And a quick rule, since we will have quite a few ties, we will sort the coasters from new to old. The older coaster was there first after all. So let's launch right into number 13, Gold Rush at Slagharen. Gold Rush may be compact, but it surely packs a punch. After a powerful swing launch into the top hat, you will dive towards the first inversion, a sling loop. This is basically an extended sidewinder. After an airtime hill and an overbank turn, you are already finishing up the ride with a dive loop back to the launch track and the station. This Kurzlauer Infinity Coaster officially has 2 inversions, and that's the value we use, but I would make a case for the coaster having 3 inversions instead. After you get launched backwards, you are thrown into the dive loop. While the front may not be inverted, the back of the train absolutely is. Normally, I wouldn't count backwards elements twice, but Gold Rush creatively uses the dive loop to provide an out-of-your-seat experience that is nothing like the normal element. Anyway, let's just move on to number 12. Lost Gravity at Walibi, Holland. This mock Big Dipper prototype is twisted and truly lives up to its name. It packs high speed and wild angles into a compact layout, but the 2 inversions happen right after you hit the mid-course brake run. It is here that Lost Gravity trades in the intensity for slow maneuvers, starting off with a dive loop off the brakes. You will truly be hanging out of your seat until the train picks up speed again. Then shortly after, you will go through a 0G roll, accompanied by fire and steam effects. Lost Gravity is truly a spectacle and not one to miss. And speaking of spectacles, you can't miss the next entry with our number 11. Baron 1898 at the Efteling. This Bolliger Melbiart, or B&M for short, dive coaster is a visual delight. The trains will be climbing up the gorgeous tower before plunging into an ominous mineshaft, with banshees wailing around them. From this drop, Baron 1898 throws the riders into an Immelman, and immediately after into a perfectly executed 0G roll. This already completes the 2 inversions of the coaster, but they are some of the most memorable inversions of the country. The entire ride is just stunning, off-ride and on-ride, and it is well worth the plunge into the depths. The next entry won't need a big drop for its inversions however, as we are going to the most compact trail coaster in the Netherlands for our number 10 spot, Formule X at Drievliet. Formule X was the first Mauer X-Car coaster with an LSM launch, and it packs quite the punch. The launch brings you up to 72 km per hour, or 45 miles per hour, shooting you into the first inversion. This is a dive loop, which in the case of Formula X is created by a reversed Immelman. After an airtime hill, you will enter the second inversion, and this is another weird one. It starts off like a corkscrew, but this turns into a hardline roll. Truly something straight out of Roller Coaster Tycoon. So from this compact and unusual launch coaster, let's kick off the number 9 spot with a true classic in the Netherlands. Balagos at Avonturenpark Hellendoorn. This is a classic Vekoma tornado model, featuring 2 inversions. Once the lift brings you up to 25 meters or 82 feet, you will drop down a swooping turn right into a vertical loop. This loop is right next to the main path and a visual delight. You then turn to the right into a corkscrew, which finishes up the inversions on this classic coaster. Balagos is the only roller coaster at Hellendoorn that inverts, but given that the park mostly attracts families with younger children, this is a great introduction to inversions. And if you are feeling ready for more, hit subscribe, as we are diving into the coasters with 3 inversions. Quite literally, because our number 8 is Fenix at Toverland. This B&M wing coaster starts off with a bang with a dive drop, an inversion at 40 meters or 131 feet that will leave you staring at the ground before picking up the pace. While most swing coasters are graceful and floaty, Fenix is the opposite with being stupidly intense. After a good airtime pop, you are thrown into the second inversion, an Immelman. This gives you a bit of reprieve before you are graying out in the intense helix that follows after. And after that helix, you will soar through the third inversion, a 0G roll. This roll happens right over the lake and is a visual spectacle, especially when one of the boats of Merlin's quest floats underneath it. This flight through Avalon is definitely one to remember. Our next entry, however, has an inversion you might miss. It is number 7, Falcon at Duinrell. Another compact Gerstlauer, this time a Eurofighter. After climbing up a vertical lift to a height of 22 meters or 72 feet, you are plunging down into the punchy layout. You will immediately be thrown into the first inversion, a tall vertical loop that slows down the train to give you some great hang time. Afterwards, you are immediately inverted again, but you may not have realized it. The cutback looks like an overbank turn, but it throws you upside down enough to be counted as an inversion. You are then thrown into a tight turn which seamlessly turns into a hardline roll. So, within no time at all, you went through 3 inversions and hit the brake run. Compared to the other coasters at Duinrell, this is quite a step up in intensity. And Falcon may be unique in the Netherlands, but the layout has been cloned many times over. Just like our number 6 on the list, Speed of Sound at Walibi, Holland. A Vekoma boomerang, what can you say? Like Falcon, Speed of Sound packs a punch in a small space, lifting up the train backwards into the first spike and releasing it into the inversions. You will go through a cobra roll, which counts as 2 inversions, followed by a vertical loop. You are then caught on the other spike, and will do it all again, backwards. Because these are the exact same inversions, I don't count them twice. This is unlike the case I made with Gold Rush, where the backwards element actually uses an inversion differently than how it's taken later in the layout. And while Speed of Sound may only have 3 inversions, going backwards through the loop is one of the most forceful elements on a coaster you will experience. You are pushed into your seat with 5.2 Gs, and this element is known to grey people out. Even though the trains have been renewed and have fast restraints, you can truly feel the age of this Vekoma, much like our number 5, Xpress Platform 13 at Walibi, Holland. Xpress Platform 13 is basically a rock and roller coaster in the open air, or Avengers Assemble Flight Force as it's now called in Disneyland Paris. It starts off with a powerful launch that will throw the riders into the Sea Serpent element. This is a double inversion right away and the highlight of the ride. Xpress just meanders around a bit afterwards. It then swoops you into the final inversion, a corkscrew. This element isn't the most comfortable, and it doesn't help that you have hard over-the-shoulder restraints. This Vekoma LSM coaster does deliver some great head choppers, since you can actually see what's going on. But when it comes down to it, the launch and the first 2 inversions are the reason why you queue up. Are you still with me? If so, press that like button, because we are about to increase the amount of inversions once again with our number 4, Python at the Efteling. The 4th on the list with 4 inversions. This Vekoma is a true classic and taught half the country what upside down feels like. Python has been around in the Efteling since 1981, and its wide loops and corkscrews are incredibly iconic. After the pre-drop, you are picking up speed and are thrown into the first 2 loops. The second loop actually pulls some stronger forces. You will then make a right-hand turn into the 2 corkscrews. These are positioned over the pathway, so make sure to wave to onlookers as you are hanging upside down. While Python is old, the layout is pretty basic, and the teaming is non-existent, it is an incredibly smooth ride. The Efteling completely retracked this classic in 2018, fully replacing the track except for the lift hill, so you can safely ride Python without fearing a headache. And I would say Python is the only coaster in the Netherlands with 4 inversions, but some people may disagree, because next on our list is number 3, Untamed at Walibi, Holland. Alright, so Untamed is controversial, and this is all because of the first inversion, or inversions, you will go through. After the surprisingly steep plunge, you are brought into the double inverting stall. The element already says it's a double inversion, but the rollercoaster database, RCDB, counts this as a single inversion. You will turn 270 degrees to one side, where you are stalling sideways for a moment, before the element turns 270 degrees back. It is a weird and spectacular sensation, and in my opinion, you actually invert twice here. I feel like the coaster levels out enough to count it as a double inversion, but this thought is subjective. It is pretty similar to the Lagoon roll on Cannibal in Lagoon. RCDB also counts this as a single inversion. What are your thoughts on this? 1 or 2 inversions? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, back to Untamed. This Rocky Mountain construction hybrid coaster does its best to launch you out of your seat, and next to that, invert you 3 more times. Before the turnaround, it flips you upside down with a step-up underflip. Then shortly after, it has a 140 degree overbanked inversion. And after another wild segment filled with airtime, you will enter the finale of Untamed, a drawn-out barrel roll which has you hanging out of your seat. Untamed is wild, and all of this airtime may just be a bit painful, but another coaster in Walibi is a guarantee for pain, and that is our number 2, Condor at Walibi Holland. This was the first ever Vekoma suspended looping coaster, or SLC for short, and you can feel that. These coasters tend to be incredibly intense and incredibly rough. It is not the best combination. After a swooping drop, you are thrown into the first 2 inversions, a rollover. This element is the eye-catcher of the ride, but can also be the source of quite a bit of pain. After surviving this first element, you will make your way to the 3rd inversion, a sidewinder. Especially on Condor, the pull-out on this inversion has downright painful profiling. You will then turn 270 degrees and head into the final 2 inversions, a double inline twist. The only redeeming factor of Condor is that it is using new trains with a fast restraint, so you won't bang your head. But you will still have to ride defensively, because the profiling will toss you around. Still, this was the first coaster in the Netherlands with 5 inversions. But in 2025, it was dethroned by our new number 1, Joy Thrill at Walibi Holland. Joy were the 2 newest coasters at Walibi Holland, with Joy Chill being aimed more at families, and Joy Thrill bringing the thrill, literally. This RMC single rail is the first coaster in the Netherlands to hold 6 inversions, and it does this while playfully twisting around Joy Chill. Joy Thrill starts off with the barrel roll down drop, plunging down to the ground and picking up speed. From there, the next inversion will put you right over the chill track with the Top Gun stall. This is a beautiful set piece for onlookers. You are then turning around through a cutback, which is the 3rd inversion. This leads you into the 4th inversion, a corkscrew right over the blue chill track. At this moment, the track split up a bit, and Joy Thrill fits in the 5th inversion here. This is a barrel roll right underneath the first airtime hill of Joy Chill, but it doesn't bring any interaction with the other side. And finally, Joy Thrill has another corkscrew in store, wrapping around Joy Chill in the unique DNA roll. We have twisted through 42 inversions. Are you still hanging on? Because it's time to change these dizzying inversions to dizzying heights. And believe it or not, our inversion king barely made it on this list.